But I ask myself one question.
Yeah.
Why are we not asking every sector of the economy, every unit of the economy to make their budgets public? Why? And why Black Stars? Why? Why do we create confusion when there's no need for confusion? Why are we not asking Asase Radio to make their budget public?
It's a private entity.
Yes, but DFA is a private entity.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Supported of.
Yes.
Funded and supported.
Yes.
The GFA,
I'm saying,
Black Stars.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why are we not asking every sector of our Ghanaian public life to make their budgets public?
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
I mean, we dwell and waste our time sometimes on things which are needless. Okay, I mean, why do we place a lot of premium on when the real issues do exist? I don't have any problem. I mean, the president of the country have already given a directive.
Yeah.
The minister of the sector has carried the directive, and he will continue to carry the directive. That's it.
Have you had cause to speak to him about it? Your feelings about it?
I have no problem at all. Every line must go public. Because the point is, I only advise.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Approve the budget. I don't disperse the budget. I don't take receipts for the budget. So, for me, it's a waste of time. You know what I mean? That simple as that.
Sport contributes approximately 2% to GDP in advanced economies. Globally, the sports industry exceeds USD 500 billion in value. Yet on our continent, sport contributes less than 0.5% to GDP in most countries. Not because we lack talent, not because we lack passion, but because we have not yet built a financing system that match our ambition. The Ghana Sports Fund provides us that system. It creates a structured, transparent, and accountable framework to support infrastructure development, school and grassroots sports, elite athlete preparation, welfare systems, and recreation. It allows us to move from ad hoc allocations to predictable investment. It signals to the private sector that sport and recreation is not a favor. It is an industry. Right Honorable Speaker, I am happy to inform this august House that the first contribution to this fund has already been made. The National Investment Bank has demonstrated leadership with a donation of 100,000 Ghana cedis. That gesture must not stand alone. It must mark the beginning of a national movement. In that spirit, I will donate 2 months of my salary to the Ghana Sports Fund effective February 2026. If we expect the private sector to invest, if we expect federations to reform, if we expect young athletes to commit, then leadership must also commit.
Well, the Sports and Recreation Minister, Kofi Adams, there, and he says that leadership must also commit 2 months of his salary donated to the cause. National Investment Bank also giving some seed money of 100,000 Ghana cedis. And so we'll be monitoring and shining light on all those and, all those individuals and institutions who contribute to this effort, which will bring seed money for the sports fund. Major contributions will be coming from the United Kingdom today on the show, and there are two gentlemen who will be joining us. One of them is an alumnus of Joy Sports, Benedict Owusu, previously a producer of this show. And of course, he has covered the Africa Cup of Nations, covered the FIFA World Cup as well. Would also be talking to Coach Kwejo Ejejima, who gets us into technicalities and explanation of strategy on the pitch and all of that. Later on, would also be joined by one of the leaders of the Ghana Supporters Union, Abraham Nkansa, also known as Apirugu Chakapama. Actually, some of the nicknames. You know, in sport, you get all sorts of, identities, especially with nicknames. So he'll be giving us, an idea of what the regular fan does in terms of preparing themselves for a major assignment like this. If all goes well, it means that, the average fan has to be out of Ghana for a better part of 1 month. Or probably beyond. All right, so gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
I don't need to go.
Kwejo and Kwejo and and Benedict. Let me just quickly reestablish contact.
We were trying to show this.
All right, I'll do that in a little bit, but we will be getting through to them. And of course, before we get through that, let's just get a few reactions from the members of parliament after that statement that was made by the Minister for Sports and Recreation, who's also the member of parliament for the Buem constituency.
Sport is a universal language spoken by people of all ages, and it transcends boundaries, political boundaries, cultural, socio-economic boundaries. Mr. Speaker, in Ghana, sport is not merely a recreational activity, but it is a very powerful tool for youth empowerment, for job creation, for international diplomacy, for building unity and peace amongst the people. So, Mr. Speaker, this act is the creation of Parliament. It is therefore important that we parliamentarians will support, advocate for seed funding for this money, and also play effective oversight to ensure transparency, accountability, and management of this fund. As has been shown by the Honorable Minister, as a passionate football administrator and sports administrator, I also donate 1 month of my salary, net salary, to support this fund.
Right, Honorable Speaker, until last year, December, the sports fraternity has been limping, has been struggling with funds. It will interest you to note that even this year, major competitions that we have is not only the World Cup. We have 2 other major competitions, but the sports ministry is struggling to even rig in funds to be able to support the World Cup. What that means is that we do not want this law to risk being just a passed legislation without proper execution, without being able to rake in funds to support the sports fund. And so
all right, so let me, go out there to the UK zone for my 2 major contributors to the show today, Benedict Owusu and, Kwejo Ejejima. Also, will be doing a bit of mixed sport as well. It's interesting that we're having this conversation to start it off about the sports fund because some 2 para swimmers are in action. Now, this is the very first time that Ghana is being represented at a major competition in para swimming since the inauguration of the association last year, led by Farida Idris. Farida Idris is a top administrator in swimming in the international circles. Now, the two para swimmers, Promise Achu and Brian Bafo, are in Australia for the World Series 2026, which serves as a qualifier for the upcoming Commonwealth Games. So let's, before we get into the conversations with Benedict and Kwadwo Ejima, let's just cross over to Australia and have a quick conversation, with the head of the team, which is Farida Idris. Farida will be having how things are going out there. Farida, thank you so much for your time here on the Joy Sports Link.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Great. And congratulations are in order. I mean, this is historic. The fact that you are leading a team that is qualifying for para swimming for the very first time in a long time. All right, we'll try to re-establish contact with Farida, and then we'll go ahead with our conversation later on here on the show. Farida is down under in Australia, together with the team. All right, so let's get through to Benedict and Kwadwo Ejima. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time here on the show. Benedict, it's been such a long time. Good to have you back on the show that you previously produced.
For having me. I hope you're good.
I'm great. How's it going out there?
Oh, I'm doing very fine by God's grace. Thanks for asking.
Super. Let's touch base with Kwadwo Ejima as well. Kwadwo, good to have you back on the show.
My pleasure, Nat. I hope you're good too.
We're great. And, there's conversation about, this new sports fund and how we're going to fund it. And, after the sports minister pledged 2 months of his salary, we've had others respond to it. And this obviously is coming at a very strategic time because the sports sector has always cried about this lack of funding chorus. We've sung this chorus for so many years, and finally it's here with us. But one of the members of parliament made a very important point about the sustainability. Is one of the most important and critical points. Yes, Kwadwo.
Yeah, so Nat, I think it's a step in the right direction, and I would like to also commend the Member of Parliament and the House also for approving the bill. First of all, it's very important because it has to be supported, and I'm sure corporate Ghana, after a while, will also come on board. But most of the sustainability is very important. But it has to be more with transparency, how well we're able to manage that funds. That's what keeps everything thriving and keeps it going. So it'll be very important that due diligence in course of time is also observed in the process so that, when anybody wants to donate to the fund or wants to chip into the fund, they know where the money is going, they see the results of the money. But moreover, it's going to do more in terms of sports in Ghana, in various a vast part of sports. When we talk sports, sometimes narrowly we think about football, but we have to think about athletics, we have to think about hockey and all those and all those things. So it's very important that all these part of sporting activities get a fair share, but we cannot manage all these things with the government funds. So it's important that we're able to have this fund to be able to fund that. But like I said, we need due diligence and we also need transparency to keep it going.
Amazing stuff there. Benedict, you have had to cover so many stories as a journalist, about sporting, associations, national teams who have to meet deadlines and are not able to because we do not have the money. And now we're having this conversation about this new law and this, new strategy, which obviously would bring a lot in terms of solutions to how we're running our sport.
Not even before I got into journalism for decades, our sports economy has been defined by imbalance and rather than intent. And we all know what's been happening with regards to funding when it comes to other sports, which we've termed as, least financed sports. I mean, relatively, when you talk about Black Stars, every time we're able to get money for the Black Stars to participate in whichever competition they are in, whether the Africa Cup of Nations, the World Cup qualifiers. But for the other, federations, even there were times that, and I'm sure it still persists, that some federations found it very difficult to even raise funds to travel just across Ghana to Togo for qualifiers. And so this for me has come at the right time, that it will help in terms of in terms of like the distortion that we've been seeing over a period of time, that there's going to be sustainable financing across the entire sports value chain, which is very, very important. And I align myself with the point that Kojo just made, that the sustainability of this is very, very important. It's not just starting, but how we're going to keep this going. And I'm very excited that some of the the minister, that's Minister Kofi Adams, and I think the leader of the majority leader of Parliament also noted on the floor of Parliament regarding how they're all going to help to ensure that we get this going, because it's very important. The fact that we've been able to institutionalize it, to get it going, is great, but to make sure that we have this rolling, and not just something that will just come to pass, but something that is going to stay, to help all other federations. I've been clamoring for categorization of our sports participation over so many years, but it looks like that's not something we're going to do. So with this coming through, that will raise funds to help all other sports. I think that is in the right direction, and that we all have to be on board to help in terms of how this is gonna go a long way to help all other sporting federations in Ghana.
Amazing stuff there, Benedict Owusu there. Let's now go back to Australia, go down under back to Australia, and have a brief chat with Farida Idris. She's leading the team, the para swimming team, who are taking part in a very important qualifier ahead of the Commonwealth Games. Farida, I trust by now it's sorted with your line. Yes, great. Now, Farida, we were just having a conversation about this, new sports fund, and how there's been a good response so far, beginning with the Sports and Recreation Minister. You are within the space. You feel it every day, on your skin. Tell me how much relief you have, knowing that proper step has been taken and we're starting things off on the right scale.
Oh, thank you very much, Max. Unfortunately, just like your previous speaker said, because of funds, I just had to let the swimmers travel without me. I'm currently in Spain, trying to coordinate whatever they are doing. So for me, the sports fund is something that is going to bring a lot of relief to us. Hopefully, if it's something that is coordinated.
All right, so Farida obviously having some more challenges with her line there. So just for clarification, once again, Farida is coordinating the affairs from Spain, rather, and the swimmers are there in Australia. All right, we'll try our best to reestablish contact with her as we go along. So let's do some messages. There's one that's come in, from Mr. Johan Amorin, and he's a regular listener to the show, and he says, I still want to emphasize that sustainability for the sports fund is one we should follow, and we should follow the British and dedicate a large chunk of the National Lottery Authority revenue to the fund. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Johan Amorin. He says that he thinks we should dedicate a lot of the revenue from the National Lottery Authority to this fund, to give it a very solid and strong base. Good afternoon to the Lawsons, Brother Lawson and Nadu Lawson. Good afternoon. We're glad to know you're listening. And Mrs. K. Bentiencho, it's great to know you're also listening to the show. All right, gentlemen, so let's zoom in on a bit of the other conversations as we start preparing for the FIFA World Cup. Benedict, there's a lineup of friendlies that the Black Stars are supposed to play, on the FIFA approved dates between now and when we eventually get into the Americas to start the competition proper. Tell me, your general reaction to the kinds of opposition we have chosen or we have landed for preparing ourselves for the period.
We couldn't have asked for a better preparation going into the World Cup than to get these friendlies. It's always important that you play high-profile friendlies when you're going to the World Cup, especially when you know very well that you're also going to meet, tough teams. Just when the draw was made, and we found out that it was going to be in the same group with England, Croatia, and Panama. And then, of course, if you're getting friendlies with the likes of Germany, with Austria, and Mexico, one of the host countries, then it's in the right direction. I always believe that going into major tournaments and competitions like the World Cup, preparations are very, very key. And it's just like any other competition, but because it's the World Cup, and we all know our history at the World Cup, how we managed, to get through to the knockout stages in the 2010 World Cup, and eventually, had to take Luis Suarez not to allow Ghana to get to the semi-finals. We prepared very well going into that tournament. Even 2006, our preparations was very good. 2010 was good. 2014, we had a wonderful preparations. Going into the tournament, unfortunately, issues we all know that we've been talking about for so many years and praying that it never happens again. At the last World Cup in 2022, which we appeared, we also had very good friendlies. And I believe that those friendlies that we played going into the 2022 World Cup really boosted the confidence of Ghanaians and also even the team, because we beat the likes of, I think, the same Austria we're going to play against. We beat Austria before that tournament. And that was when people realized that, yes, we have a team that could go into the tournament and do very well. So it's always important that you get some of these high-profile friendlies. Germany, we all know their resurgence after what's been happening to them recently, and to get a team like that, a team of that magnitude to play, to test our team. We've currently been worrying about our players and how some are not playing very well, and also those that are playing are not getting those that are not, some are injured, and those that are playing are also not getting playing time. Recently, we all heard what Villarreal manager talked about Thomas Partey being not being the player we all knew at Arsenal. And we've also known Kudus Mohamed to be out for some time and returning in April. And currently, the only player you could talk about who is playing very well on the international stage, probably maybe Semenyo. And to a large extent, you can also talk about, these are the players that we have. So if you're going to have friendlies of this nature, play before you go into the World Cup, I think it's very, very good. And I would love to see Otoado and the technical team take advantage of these friendlies to establish what exactly they want to do at the tournament, since they're not going to get enough opportunities. At least these 3 games present them a greater chance of trying out whatever they are going to do at the tournament. So for me, they are in the right direction.
Amazing. Passionate man, you always like to focus on the technical element of the game. Now, when you look at the lineup, you realize that it's aligned to the continents where our opposition are coming from, as in you're talking about Europe and South America. And what it is in terms of football patterns around the world is that, national teams that come from certain zones play similar patterns of football for various, scientific reasons. And so obviously this comes in as a well-aligned set of friendlies, isn't it?
Absolutely not. I think it's important that we play these matches in preparation towards the World Cup, not just because of player selection alone, but also the coach will have enough time with these friendlies also to be able to see different dynamics. Thank God we know who we're playing in the group stages now. We know we've got Panama, we know we've got England in there, we've got the rest of our teams there. So Croatia, it gives us that dynamics it gives us that dynamics to be able to know which team we're playing at every time. And so the coach would have to try different tactics. Some games would have to go 4-3-3, some games 4-2-3-1, some games 4-4-2. And so when you're able to play these friendlies, it gives you that understanding of, most likely the opponents you're going to face. Also, there are other infringed players that are also going to come in, that the players, they're going to prove themselves, and then the coach would have to also assess the performance. And then all in all, look at the importance they bring to the team in going to the World Cup. Because remember, we have to present our best side, and so it's not really about who played through the qualifiers now. It's about the players he calls now, the synergy, the unity in camp, also to be able to form different patterns and different rhythms in the game. Because remember, in the course of the game, you might have seen great players, but not necessarily bringing the rhythm to the team. And you need that balance to be able to have that, that balance in terms of defensive, midfield, and attack. And playing these friendlies also serves us a lot of great help to be able to move forward in our conquest for the World Cup.
Let's also talk about, teams and players. I mean, basically the players. Okay, now with the players, we're looking at those who are looking forward to, landing, places in the FIFA World Cup. Now, just last weekend, the whole Ghana was locked and hooked on the Super Clash, Asante Kotoko versus Accra Hearts of Oak. Now, for the past 3 seasons, Kotoko have dominated Accra Hearts of Oak. The best Hearts was able to do within the 3 seasons was a draw. So this, brought a lot of pressure on the Phobians to deliver. The game came off. Accra Hearts of Oak managed a sweet 1-0 victory over Asante Kotoko in their own backyard at the Babayara Stadium. But one person who stood out was Accra Hearts of Oak's goalkeeper, Benjamin Asare. There have been loads and loads of conversations about who qualifies and who doesn't. And I know that, a lot of conversations have come up. 2 weeks ago, a colleague in the media just called me, and just put me on air and said, look, he wanted me to tell him who I believe is the most popular, player in the Ghana Premier League on the outside. And on the outside meaning people who are just not interested in the Ghana Premier League. And I said it was Benjamin Asare. And it's by virtue of what he was able to do when he was given the opportunity in the Black Stars team. Okay, let's spend a bit of time on Benjamin Asare. We're not saying that goalkeeping is the only department we have to, focus on, but then it's come with the time. Benedict, you have covered the Ghana Premier League. You've been monitoring what's been going on. You've seen players have their debuts in the Black Stars. You did commentary on Kudus when he landed his debut for the Black Stars at the Cape Coast Stadium. You've seen players come and go. Tell me about Benjamin Asare and all of this conversation about his quality and whether or not he fits the grade to be there to be the number one for us in the World Cup eventually when we get there.
Nat, honestly, I don't really get this conversation about Benjamin Asare, especially for those that feel he's not, for want of a better word, not good enough to be our number one. Let's look at Benjamin Asare since he got a chance to be Black Stars number one. Has he put a foot wrong? No. Has he been good? Yes. For all the games that he has played for the Black Stars, we did good. A lot of the people that talk about why they think Benjamin Asare is not or shouldn't be our number one, all talk about the kind of opposition that we have faced, that we faced teams that did not really test him in terms of how we in terms of him not probably maybe getting a lot of shots, but he has still lived up to it and he has played very well, and we've won games with Benjamin Asare. We qualified for the World Cup with Benjamin Asare being in post. That doesn't mean that along the way, if a goalkeeper starts playing very well, we should overlook such a goalkeeper. But at this moment, he's the one that we have, and he's the one who has been playing very well. He's doing well for Hearts of Oak as well. You made reference to the game at the Baba Stadium, and he played very well. He was actually man of the match. So I really don't get why people will still be talking about Benjamin Asare not being the the standard in terms of probably maybe the kind of goalkeeper we should take it to the World Cup. We've seen goalkeepers in the last few years at the Black Stars. I just don't want to compare him or mention names of other goalkeepers, but we've seen other goalkeepers, and we've seen Benjamin Asari. For me, I think that he deserves every opportunity he's getting at this minute.
Benedict, before you go on, let's also look at this from here. Let's look at this purely from the perspective of the everyday football fan who has a template of the likes of Richard Kingston Olile, and are still fixated on that image of him pulling off all of those wonderful saves at the World Cup and trying to use that as a benchmark. And would you blame the everyday fan for doing that?
Honestly, I wouldn't blame, the everyday fan for doing that, especially and I even want us to elevate the conversation from Olele to other goalkeepers of teams that we are going to meet at the World Cup. If you look at our group, Croatia, they have one of the best goalkeepers, playing in Europe. If you look at England, Pickford. I mean, I don't know much about. I've seen Panama play; they're a very compact team, but I don't really know much about their goalkeeper. But if you're looking at the goalkeepers that the national teams are going to present at the World Cup, all are goalkeepers of high quality playing in top leagues. And we are coming with a goalkeeper who plays at Accra Heart of Oak. I mean, if you want to do that comparison, then of course you say, oh, we are not up there yet. But mind you, even Richard Kingston at some point in time was unattached and was still playing well for the Black Stars. Benjamin Asari is playing for Accra Heart of Oak. He's playing very well for Heart of Oak. And since he got the chance to be our number one in the Black Stars, he's been playing very well as well. So I really would want to, if an ordinary person who doesn't really follow our national team or follow football hears a conversation about, oh, there's a goalkeeper who plays in our local league for Accra Heart of Oak and does not really fit to be the number one of the Black Stars going into the World Cup, I will tell that person that since we gave Benjamin Asari the opportunity to be our number one, he's not put a foot wrong. He's been playing well for his club. Then again, what is the criteria for getting into the Black Stars? The criteria for getting into the Black Stars, as far as we all know, is playing consistently and playing very well, right? So if you're playing consistently and you're playing very well, which he has been doing, then he deserves every chance he's getting. I just want us to, give him the confidence. I want us to be able to have a very good conversation around him. So it puts him up there. All the things that we say, especially the people that are not so much in in agreement when it comes to Benjamin Asari, being our number one. If Benjamin Asari is somebody, and I don't really know him that much, but I know someone who is very close to him, and I asked this person, does he listen to the outside noise? And he says he doesn't. And I told him that that's awesome. If he doesn't listen to the outside noise, that's very good, because if Benjamin Asari is going to listen to what people will say, regarding him being the number one, not based on his performance, because the performance has clearly shown that he's our number one. Unless we have a Manuel Neuer somewhere that we know that we are not calling, or we have another top goalkeeper, probably maybe in Alisson Becker somewhere, that is playing very well at his club that we are not calling. At the minute, this is the one we have. He's playing consistently for his club, and all the chances that we've given him at the Black Stars, he's lived up to it. So I don't really see the fuss about, the conversation that he's not quality and we want to compare him with other goalkeepers. Let's give him that opportunity. Let's give him the chance. The World Cup is a bigger stage. It is not a stage to play with. And definitely he is very much aware that there's not a stage to play with. We played against South Korea. He saved the penalty and he kept a clean sheet, and he did very well in that game. It was the same thing with Fatau Dauda. When Fatau Dauda was given the chance in 2015, I remember very well at the AFCON, a lot of people were doubting his credentials as the number one of the Black Stars. But he played very well. Eventually, we went to the World Cup, even before 2015, 2014 World Cup. Fatau Dauda was arguably, I wouldn't say was our best player, but was one of the best players in the national team. He put up wonderful saves during that tournament. So I think that we should always allow our players to have that freedom, to play and play well for our national team. What I'm excited about when it comes to Benjamin Asari is the fact that he's also playing in a local league for Accra Hearts of Oak, and he's doing very well. He's the captain of the team. We all saw the performance in Kumasi over the weekend, and it's not just the performance in Kumasi over the weekend. He's been putting in similar performances for Hearts of Oak over the period. So he deserves, for me, he totally deserves to be our number one, unless probably from now till the time we go for the World Cup, we find an Alessi Becker, or we find a Jan Oblak or Emmanuel Neuer somewhere who is playing very well for his club week in, week out to displace, Benjamin Asari as the number one. Other than that, for me, he should be kept number one going into the World Cup.
Super. Let's now listen to Coach Kojo Ejejima. Passionate Man will also have his own, bit about it. But Passionate Man, this is where I want you to take it from. In club football all over the world, results that are recorded against your arch rivals are taken completely differently or are received differently. Now, reactions to these results also differ to when you play other clubs or other opposition. So, for instance, a coach of a Real Madrid can lose his job because he lost in the Copa del Rey final against the Barcelona, or lost a league game, against a Barcelona. An AC Milan coach can lose his job because he lost to an Inter Milan, in a game. Same applies to, what's been happening in other parts of the world. And so, what for you will it be for Benjamin Asari, especially for pulling off that performance, and what kind of impression it is likely to make on the technical team led by Coach Attoh? And we're saying all of this with all of these examples, in the background and on hindsight. We know that, last Sunday is quite some time away from when we eventually play some of our friendlies and all of that. But key thing here is what has it done? What would it do, or what is it likely to do to how the technical team views Benjamin Asari?
I think it's very important that the technical team take a very closer look at the goalkeeper. But I beg to differ from my brother Benedict, because I think, yes, he's playing in the local league. He plays for Accra Hearts of Oak, but the question comes: has it really, really been tested on international level? Now you come against opponents and teams and players that, with a split of a second, decision is made. They hit the ball from every angle, from every type of tactics and style you want, outside the foot, inside the foot, 30 yards. And so I think the position also differs from playing in the local league, because this is the World Cup. The World Cup is supposed to be best of the players in the world and must have assembled for these tournaments. Now, when we look at our opponents, we look at England, we look at Croatia, we look at Panama. Now have a look at England, and then you look at Croatia. The players they possess. These players are very intelligent, very, very, very smart as well. They know what to do with the ball. So the question here is Benjamin Asari, is he really, or would he be after it? I think that it's very unfair for anybody to judge him even before he took a dive in the goalpost. So these friendly matches is where we're going to assess him. Yes, Atiziki, he's got international experience, the exposure, and so he knows how to deal with these sort of players. But will Benjamin Asari rise to the occasion, especially with historically Ghana having goalkeepers usually coming from the local league and doing well in world tournaments? So I think that, yes, we need to test him more. We need to play more friendly matches. That's when we'll be able to see that if he's really going to be up to it. However, I still think whether he be number one or not, he should still go with the team. Why? Because it will sum up our Ghana league, that at least we have a goalkeeper in there. We have somebody that's representing the league. We cannot go to the tournament without a single player or two players or maybe more not in that Black Star squad. Is an indictment on the whole league, and I don't think it will make sense. It tells you we don't even believe in the league. But to say he's number one, I still have my doubts because I don't think he's been globally tested enough. Because you're going to come against top players, and let's not kid ourselves and think that he's played against Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and so he's put up a sterling performance, and that is going to make him, or that should make him number one. I think if we go by that barometer, we're just having a laugh because the players we're going to meet now, these are top class players. These are top, I need to repeat that, these are top class players who hardly makes mistakes with the ball. And so let's give him exposure. Let's expose him to more friendly matches so he can work himself into it. Who knows? He could be that man that we all want to see. I don't think anybody personally hates Benjamin Sari. We want to see Benjamin Sari do well at the World Cup and pull up great saves. But we still have our doubts because he's not been tried and tested globally. Yes, we've seen him do it locally. We've seen him with the AFCON, but that is a different positions that we faced over the last few months or last year. And so now we want to see him tested internationally. That's where we'll be able to assess him and say, okay, maybe he's the man. Maybe Atiseke goes. Then we'll draw the line. But until then, I don't think we should judge him and we should, cut him and here and there. Let's just leave him and then encourage him more and more. And then let's see what he does in those friendlies. That will probably get convinced or not. But then technically as well, remember now, they are in a team. Usually you've seen tournaments that some goalkeepers are very good when it comes into saving penalties. They do last minute changes. So we'll have to look at Benjamin Asari's attributes. Is he good with set pieces? Is he good with penalties? What is his greatest asset? It's up to the technical team to steady that part of his game and then know that, yes, his inclusion into the squad is worth the while. And that is where I think we'll be able to assess him from and then his inclusion.
Before probably maybe you ask the next question, I perfectly agree with everything passionate man is talking about. But and I like the fact that you mentioned that he needs to be tested on the international stage, because like that's where I was actually going after your remarks, that yes, if we don't give him the chance, the opportunity to be tested on the international stage, then how are we going to judge him? And I'm very, very happy you made that point. Yes, these friendlies are coming up against Germany. Germany are a very tough opposition. They have all the quality players that we're looking in getting in the likes of England and Croatia. Panama, yes, also a very, very good team. And so if you have the likes of Wits, who are going to play long balls, who are going to play shots, that Benjamin Asari will be in the post. It will just be the same as playing England or playing Croatia and Austria at the World Cup. So the fact that he's going to get that opportunity to play in those friendly matches, and mind you, before we even get to the World Cup, and the World Cup is not just a week or 2 weeks away, it's months away. And in all these months, there are going to be games that players will be playing. So if tomorrow, and as I mentioned earlier, if a player pops up somewhere and is playing very well as a goalkeeper and is Ghanaian, of course, we're going to give that goalkeeper a chance ahead of Benjamin Asari, right? If Benjamin Asari form dips from next week, which I believe or I hope it doesn't, and someone is playing very well, because the Black Stars, the fact that you've done it previously doesn't mean that if tomorrow you're not playing well, or if the next day you're not playing well and the tournament is in a month away or 2 months away, you'll still be given the opportunity. But so long as he's playing and other goalkeepers are also playing and we still see him as number one, yes, I perfectly agree with those and what Passionate Man is talking about, that he's not been tested on the international stage. We've seen him play at the qualifiers, which he did very well. But then again, people will still say that the opposition that we faced were not, the A class or A list teams that you talk about in England, you talk about in Germany, and even the World Cup qualifiers, the teams that we faced, So I will agree with that. And so these friendlies offers us a great opportunity for us to see him. But I still believe that since he's a number one and since he's playing week in, week out, and he's playing very well, we should still stick with him unless we get someone somewhere who is playing very well. Until then, he's going to play in our friendlies, and hopefully he will play at the World Cup. That was given the opportunity. He did very well. And even Atizigi as well was given the opportunity at the last World Cup. He also did well. So if today Benjamin Asari is the one in there. I think we should all encourage the young man and continue to support and push him. And let's see how it goes.
Well, let's see how it goes indeed. We'll do some messages. We'll do some messages at this time. Now, quite a number of them coming in. There's one that says, not forget the fact that Benjamin Asare is playing for Accra Hartsville. The truth is that he's the best among all the goalkeepers we currently have. Anyone opposing him is simply being petty, and the only way to encourage people is to support them so that they give their best to Mother Ghana. Prosper. Sent that message. Prosper. Thank you. All right, now let's listen to this one as well from K in Taifa. K says, you can't eat your cake and have it. Someone must tell the GFA boss. As long as the state commits our money to their activities, they owe us explanations as to how the funds are applied. Many thanks. Many thanks to you too, K in Taifa. There's another one that says, definitely, certainly, Benjamin Asare should be allowed to be the man in the post for Ghana. Many thanks. And that's another one from K. And K wrote that one in capital letters. So that's just going to it's just going to emphasize his point. Now, there's another one from Prosper Domenyo in Dakuman. Prosper says, good day, Nat. Considering the fact that we're struggling to raise funds for the World Cup, we need to spend money wisely and do away with unnecessary expenditure, such as coefficient, taking along a large number of people for the team at the expense of the nation's meager resources. Finally, I think the age-old issue of appearance fees and winning bonuses, as well as per diem, should be discussed with the team ahead of time so they don't get there and start making unreasonable demands before playing crucial games, in the process ending up embarrassing the nation. All right, thank you very much, Prosper Domenyo, for that one. BB from Oyarifa says, sports, when the state give you money from taxpayers, why not account to the people? All right, so those are in reaction to the earlier soundbite we played of the Ghana FA president. He had a conversation with Asase Sports, Asase Radio. And that's where he, made those comments about, the FA and its independence by structure and by law. And those who make the argument say that government also devotes funds, therefore the people must know what goes on. All right, 055.
Now, I think
yeah.
On that quickly, I think that was a very unfortunate statement from the GFA president. I was surprised when I heard him compare the budget, like people asking or, citizens asking for the budget of the Black Stars to be made public as against that of a private entity. I was very, very surprised that the FA president could say such a thing. I mean, the Black Stars, it's not for the Football Association. The Black Stars is for Ghana. They are only managing it on behalf of Ghanaians. So whatever that is being spent on the Black Stars, the citizens who are paying taxes that are being used to take off the Black Stars deserve to know exactly how much is being spent on the team. If the Football Association is doing their own thing, whatever money they get from FIFA, if they're doing their own thing, I don't care. And I'm sure many Ghanaians also will not even, worry about that, because that's between them and their members, because they are getting money from FIFA, which their body, that they belong to CAF, and CAF eventually, because they're a member association of FIFA. So, and they have members, and their members make up the Football Association. So they take care of that. But when it comes to the national teams, and especially the Black Stars, and we are spending money on the national team, we deserve to know. So I was so surprised that the FA president could, make that analogy and the comparison of how it's a waste of time for us to be asking about the budget of the Black Stars, and if same thing will be done with a private entity. I think that was very, very unfortunate. And if he gets the chance again to speak on this, probably maybe based on the reactions and maybe the thoughts, I'm sure he will come back and rectify that, because that was so wrong.
Interesting. 055-1111-997, 055-1111-997. We've spent quite a bit of time on the issue of goalkeeping, because it's something that has come up, over the course of time when it comes to the Black Stars. And, we sure had to talk about that bit. Let's also switch to some of the factors that helped us to perform on that big stage and what also pulled us back. I'd want to start off from Qatar 2022, which is described as our worst performance so far in the FIFA World Cup. Benedict, you were there. You saw the games. I believe strongly that we lost our easiest game and won our toughest game. I don't think that I've been able to even watch more than a minute of the highlights of Ghana versus South Korea. I mean, that game was something else.
That for me actually was supposed to be like our toughest game, and especially watching that game at the stadium, it was a very good game. I remember we were 2-0 up, and eventually South Korea came into the game, and probably maybe we could start with the first game. And as I made mention earlier regarding the friendlies, we went into that tournament playing a very good friendly and a very good exercise, and we're all very hopeful of doing well at the tournament. Even in our first game against Portugal, which for me we lost, we still played very, very well in that game. And then we won against South Korea. The only problem for me was when we were going into our game against Uruguay. It looks like the mind, attention, and everything was on revenge and not really thinking about what exactly we're going to do. So that probably ate into our players, and we could all see how it turned out, because everything was about revenge, seeing Ghana put out Uruguay in revenge of what Luis Suarez did to the team in 2010. But eventually, what happened? We lost out. So for me, that World Cup is a big lesson for the Football Association. Thankfully, the current administration, they were in charge for that World Cup, and they've all seen how since they came, competitions that we've been to have not gone well since 2019, when we were used to always making the semi-finals of the Africa Cup of Nations from 2019 with normalization committee and Kets taking over in Cameroon. Didn't go well, did not win a single game. Our worst, one of our worst performances at the AFCON, and then it continued in Ivory Coast, which will go down as the worst ever performance for the Black Stars. We've seen that trend from the time he took over when it comes to the Black Stars at major competitions. And I want to believe at this point where they've been able to pick up all the things that have culminated into us not performing well in those competitions. And the Africa Cup of Nations is a major competition. We can still learn things from that tournament to rectify, things that, or to improve things that we want to do at this very World Cup. Fortunately, they've had that opportunity to play 2 AFCONs, 1 World Cup, 3 major competitions. So I want to believe that they've learned a lot that will help us, improve going into this World Cup. It will be very, very sad that in an expanded World Cup where we can easily make it to the next stage of the competition as one of the 3rd best placed teams, we are not able to do so as we've done in the last competitions, and also not even qualifying for an expanded Africa Cup of Nations. So all these factors and everything that's been going on with coaching, and I've seen that they've beefed up the technical team with additional hands for Otuado. As for Otuado's issue, it's something that probably maybe we have to move beyond that, because it looks like he's not going to go anywhere despite the failure of not qualifying for the AFCON. Of course, he made amends by qualifying for the World Cup, so we give him that credit and he deserves to take us there. But if he's going to get that and the FA feels, maybe we lacked certain things in that area in those competitions that we played in, being the AFCON qualifiers, being the last World Cup, which was coach, and that if these are the elements that are going to help us perform very well at the World Cup, and they are giving him that, I perfectly agree, because in all things, as we move on, you have to look at things that you did previously that did not work, and things that you will do or you will learn from what you did that didn't work to improve on what you're going to do tomorrow. So for me, learning from the last World Cup, which things didn't go quite well with the same administration, I believe that a lot of things will be put in place going into the World Cup this year.
Interesting contributions here. If you just joined us, we're live on the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM. And it's here also on YouTube. So greetings to all of our friends who are joining us from all over the world. And of course, today's conversation is around the World Cup and what we're getting ourselves into regarding the choice of international friendlies as well for the Vig Mundial itself, which players have started, showing a lot of promise and showing signs of maintaining or keeping their respective positions in the Black Stars team led by Coach Nathaniel Attoh. So sending your messages, it's 055 1111997, 055 1111997. Also joining me are Benedicto Wusu. He previously was the producer of this show. And of course, Coach Kwejo J. Jima, all of them from the UK zone, bringing different perspectives to the conversation about Ghana and us getting ourselves ready for the World Cup. Also, later on, we're going to be having conversations with the fans. Those who always, want to travel and go and support the Black Stars team as an organized unit. And I'm talking about the National Supporters Union. We'll be picking their thoughts later on in the show. But right now, I'd also want to pick the thoughts of Kwejo Ejejima. Now, you also saw everything, at the 2022 edition where Ghana couldn't go through to the next round. I mean, for you, what is one of the biggest lessons that we have learned, from that experience?
Without a shadow of a doubt, it has to be about tactics and the technical team. You look at you analyze every single game that we played in the last World Cup, and you could just tell that Otuado wasn't ready then, and we lacked a bit of technical intelligence. The systems we played, we did not really fashion these systems around the quality of players we had, and the strength of the team was weakened, and so it has to be more tactical. So I'm glad that Schaefer is back into supporting Otuado and the technical men, the video analyst, and all those teamwork that is behind him now will be able to help shape them. Currently, we have one of the best strikers in the league now, Semenyo. We have Kudus. We have a bunch of these players. There has to be a system that will make these players function correctly. Put these players in the right positions, and then when we do, we'll be able to get the results we want. So I mean, I've seen the previous World Cups, and Ghana's been over the years, and at the point when, in my opinion, we had Kujua Samoa as the best number 10 of the team. We decided to play him as a left wing back because he played that in Juventus. And it didn't even make sense because Juventus, compared to Black Stars, is totally different dynamics. So I didn't really understand these things. So for me, I just think that we've got Semenyo. We've seen his strength. He can play through the middle. He can play through the left. He can play through the right as well. Preferably, he likes to go through the middle or the left. Where is the coach going to place him? Put him in the right positions. Connect the midfield to the attackers. Connect the defense to the midfielders. Let there be a transitional play. Let's tidy up these basic things that we see in football. And once we do this, we will get results. Of course, let me not shy away from the administration part of the job. Of course, the FA needs to do what it has to do. Money needs to be discussed. All the conversations need to be done before we go to the tournament. Every stage, there has to be a very unified conversation, how much each player is going to take, the technical stuff, so we don't embarrass ourselves. This is the world stage. We cannot repeat what happened in Brazil 2014. We are here in 2026. We have to make sure that we do the right thing. But we also need to make sure that winning obviously lessens all discussions, negative discussions. The momentum of this team and how Ghanaian fans around the world, the Black Stars fans around the world are going to jubilate depends on how well the team does. And so we need to make sure we're playing the right players, no nepotism, no favoritism. Let's put the right players in the right positions. This is the starting point. Then the technical side, how to tweak one or two players here and there. If there are injuries, if we need to switch the systems, then we'll be able to look at different systems and different variations against which opponent and what to do. If we do not do these things and we stick to a starting 11, be it whatever position we're playing without intelligence, then we'll be kidding ourselves. So I just think that the technical side and the tactics of the team has to be favorable for the conditions of the players we have. We have to, some players come with different mannerisms. the way they move on the pitch. There are some players that don't even score goals, but they balance the team. The coach and the technical team needs to understand this rhythm of the team to be able to achieve this result. And so for me, Nat, if you look at Qatar, Otto has got 4 years and he's learned a lot within that 4 years. He has to arrive at the World Cup as a very, very intelligent and well-rounded man that understands what it takes to play in the World Cup. There are no excuses. We've got enough technical men. Schaefer, a man that has been with Cameroon, understands the African terrain and African players and different dynamics of African players, well experienced in Europe as well. You've got all these men behind him. This is the time Ghana need to play collectively, not individual, collectively, because I believe if we're able to play collectively, the individual players will shine in the course of that process. And so it's very important that the technical side of the team, we do not fail with that, because it will lessen every negative conversation around the team. If we win, everyone is happy, the fans are happy. What's more to discuss? If it's money issue, we can discuss that when we're back home. So let's focus on the team, pick the right players, no favoritism. Of course, we've seen that over the years in the World Cup. When players deserve to play, we're picking the other players. Let's kick all these things away. Put the right players in their natural positions. Let's define the roles. Let's define a style before we go to the tournament. Let's not get to the tournament and then we don't even know how the teams play. These teams that we're going to face in the World Cup, regardless of what opposition they're going to play, there is a template of a style and a system that these teams are playing. You look at England, they know when they play 4-4-2, they're going 4-4-2. If they're going 4-3-3, they're going 4-3-3. They understand that. They know based on each opposition, they tweak it a little bit. What is the system and style that Ghana is going to play? I want to see this in the friendly matches that we're going to play. And let's begin to work on that conditions and then take it to the World Cup. One thing that Djokovic did so well in 2010, 26 World Cup was he played a 4-2-3-1. And that system was very, very clear for every Ghanaian to see this is the system we're playing. Yes, he tweaked it a little bit, but he was very, very tactical. This is my style, 4-2-3-1. And it was so clear. That's why Ghana was able to do that much in the World Cup, because players understand information when you're being fed early into that sort of mode, and it helps. So we're able to even select the type of players that fit the system to the World Cup. Because mind you, these players are going to function in the system that we're going to play in the World Cup. You don't take the players there and then you're there and then you don't even know what you're doing with them. They could be the best 11 in the world, but they need to fit into the style that the coach wants to play. So I wouldn't be mad if the coach picked an unknown name that yet fit his style, because in the end, those tactics, those dynamics is what brings the best out of these players to the coach's demand. And that's what we need to look at, Nat.
Nat, quickly, I don't know if we're going to talk about players, because Passionate Man talked about picking the right players. And if you're going to talk about players, I really want to talk about Andre Ayew and what he's been doing at NAC Brother. I don't know if it's something
great. You're a soothsayer. Yeah. So we're coming to that because, during the week, one of the key things that also happened was that interview that Andre Ayew granted.
Yes.
Andre Ayew has been on a very long run. He's enjoyed longevity. He's made his achievements. But every time the conversation comes up about, whether or not he can make it and be a part of this team, wear the jersey and actually play. So, Benedict, let's go.
Yeah, 3 months ago, I wouldn't have said what I'm going to say. But now with Andre Ayew at NAC Brother and listening to him yesterday, after he granted an interview to NAC Brother TV, I feel based on what he said, that he's not retiring anytime soon. He feels good in his body to go. And with him playing, I watched their game against Heracles last week, where they went away to win 1-0. He played full 90 minutes and didn't look like someone who many people describe as, old in quotes, in a sense of, a player who, has passed 32, 33. But for me, I feel Andrea, if we're picking players and going into the World Cup, and currently, if you're going to look at our players that we have, and especially those that are playing well week in, week out, and I made a point earlier about who currently we can say is our standout player on the international stage, that's Semenyo. Thomas Partey, as one of the leaders and faces of the team, is currently struggling at his club at Veralio, and also not just about the club side that he's struggling. We all know the off-field issues he's having mentally. All those things go into it, and I'm sure Passionate Man will bear me out here. And also, you talk about Salisu, who we all thought that was going to be one of the center backs at the World Cup, picking that unfortunate injury, which is going to rule him out. So it means our senior players or our experienced players in the team, like players that we've seen over the years perform at that highest level when the stakes are very high and you need to count on them, are limited. So if we have someone like Andre Ayew, who is currently playing, it's not that he's not playing. If it was 2 months ago and he didn't have any team and was at home training, as we saw videos, I would not make this suggestion. But with the current state of our playing body and our current team, I feel that if Otoado and the technical team want to have someone in the team with that level of experience, mind you, he's the general captain. He's not retired. His brother is the captain of the team, and he is not retired and he's still playing and playing well week in, week out. And as I said earlier, the criteria, as we have known over the years, and I think Otoado at some point also mentioned this in one of his press conferences, that getting into the Black Stars, one, is based on commitment. Two, you have to be performing and playing week in, week out at your club level, because I'm not sure you'd want to put players who are not playing week in, week out at their club level, who lack much fitness when they come into the national team. But this is someone who is playing very well. And the point that I'm driving at is not, even if you're going to put Andre Ayew in a team, it doesn't mean that he's going to start every game. It's a conversation that we can have with him as a senior player, as someone that has done so well for the country. We did this in 2006 with Sami Kofo. We took him to the 2006 World Cup. We did this for Stephen Appiah in 2010. We took him to the World Cup. Stephen Appiah did not start every game. In a game that we lost to Uruguay. If you go back and watch the clip, Stephen Appiah had the clearest opportunity to put us, in a lead in a game against Uruguay when he came on the pitch. So these are some of the things that I'm talking about, that we can use the experience of Andre Ayew at the World Cup. Not necessarily going to start him if we don't want to, but there may be the time where at the tournament you need to fall on the experience of someone like Andre Ayew. It could even be off field, speaking to some of these players, and on field as well. He could come in the last 10 minutes of your game against England. You are drawing and you need someone to come in. There you go. Andre Ayew could give you that goal. In a game against Panama, he could do that. If you qualify to the next stage of the competition, which I hope and believe that we will, based on the dynamics of the groups and even finishing third place, we'll be able to qualify. He could play a part in the World Cup. So if the technical team and the handlers of the team are not thinking about it, I would clamor, or I would state that we look in that direction, where we could have someone like him, especially when our current players are not at the level we all want them to be in terms of our experienced players that are the face of our team. Kudus Mohammed has picked up a very key injury that he's coming back in April, May, June. That's 2 months away from the World Cup. And those are injuries, when you come back, you need time, to recover, match fitness. And by the time he will be coming back, the league will be coming to an end. So how many games is he going to play that will be match fit for the World Cup? You have someone who is playing, irrespective of the age, is playing week in, week out at his club level. So I would encourage the technical team to look in that direction and think about, one, the experience, two, the help that he can give for the team off field and on field in crucial moments, because we know that in crucial moments, Andre Ayew has always been there and always delivered for Ghana.
The conversation about Andre Ayew also will never ever go away. All right, now let's just quickly take a listen to him and what exactly he said regarding the bit about possibly retiring from the sport or from the game.
To have a better tomorrow on the field, off the field. I don't think about that. I think when the moment comes, your body will tell you. That's how I see it. And for now, my body is not responding negatively at all. So I need to continue working. The matches will get me fitter, will make me feel better. And that's all I'm thinking about. But no, I never thought about stopping because the 6 months I didn't play was not football reasons. It was personal reasons that I had to deal with and sort and before, so I could clear my mind and come back and be on top of my game mentally, physically. But I was working, so I'm quite happy, and this is the start of something new, and I hope we end it well.
Yeah.
Andre, are you there? Passionate man, Andre, are you? And the possibility of being there at the next World Cup?
We have to look at which capacity are we bringing Andre Ayew on. Yes, he's got experience. Maybe we can fall on that experience. Maybe we can fall on his know-how, because there's a way to play tournament. Sometimes there are a lot of dynamics in playing tournament. So the know-how, he's been at the World Cup 2010, he's gone 2014, all the way now, and so he's got a vast experience in terms of the know-how. He knows the in-depth of the Black Stars, from a young boy that he joined 2008 to now. So there's quite a lot of experience that he's acquired over the years, and so that is very important. Every team that hasn't got a team spirit doesn't go far in the World Cup. And so for me, we have to look at Andre Ayew, the capacity that we bring him on. Maybe football reasons, he can give you last 15 minutes, but we know how hard he works on the pitch when he's on the pitch. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe encouraging the players in the dressing room, maybe off the pitch, what he even says to the players before games, words, makes them feel comfortable that you can do it. These are all things that we can look at. And so for me, I think transition wise is the best time to even get him to the squad, but we have to just look at what capacity are we taking him to the World Cup, and that is what should be very important. Then we have to look at his qualities as a player as well. Does he disintegrate the group, or does he bring the group together? Because these are things that we have to start looking at. So we know Andre Ayew, the hard players gravitate towards him. He makes the players feel comfortable. He's a backbone to some of these young players that have joined the team. We have to look at all these dynamics, and then the coaching staff can begin to draw the line. Because let's not, all the players we're taking to the World Cup, not all of them are going to play every single game. There will be some players that might never kick a single ball in the tournament, but they are part of the team. Remember, it's a teamwork. Teamwork transcends beyond the pitch to the bench, to the dressing room, to the one-on-one players talking to each other, encouraging them, going to their rooms and talking to them. So there's all things that works behind the scenes. And so for me, I think that we have to look at that capacity as well, and not to say that he's not playing as well. He is playing now. We've seen him. He signed for NAC Brent, and he's beginning to play. So maybe in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, some games you might even need him to come on half time to give you some grit and some hard work in the midfield. You never know. And when we're going to follow him, and so it's very important that I think that being a former captain of the team, we cannot do away with experience. It's important that we take him to the World Cup. Maybe we're going to follow him in different areas, in different capacities as well. So if I'm a technical man in the team, I think I will look at Andre Ayew and think, you know what? Yes, he might not really be able to play 90 minutes, but maybe he can give something more off the pitch, and also maybe last 10, 15 minutes or whatever. So I'll look in that direction.
I mean, you can imagine what this will do to his brother Jordan. I mean, if he has his big brother there as general captain, and what he will even do to the likes of Benjamin Asari, looking up to someone who has been at the World Cup. If he makes this, that will be his fourth time, playing 2010, 2014, 2022. It will be huge. I mean, he has that experience that I think we should tap in going into this World Cup, especially when we are also going to have an expanded, team at this tournament. Now, per what I was reading the last time, FIFA is going to increase the number of players in the squad from 26 to 28. I mean, if you have 28 players, and as Passionate Man said, it's not every player that is going to play. At the last World Cup, Kamal Soa did not kick a ball, but he was at the tournament. You cannot use all 26 players. And this time, you're going to have additional 2 players because of the longevity of this tournament. So if Andre is part of that 28 and I'm not saying we should take him there to start him. That's not what I'm saying. And as Passionate Man said, we can take Andre in so many capacities. He has the experience. He can help these younger players that are coming through. When it gets tough, you need somebody like that who has the experience to be able to, help these guys. As general captain, if you take him, he's playing on field, roles. He's playing off-field roles as well. He can also help the technical team because these people that have been put together in the technical team are new to everything that we are doing. But for someone like him who understands the culture, who understands what we do, and if you remember when Ghana when we were playing the World Cup qualifiers for the last World Cup, there was a game we went to South Africa, and there was a video of Andre in the dressing room where he was addressing the players. We drew that game, and we needed to win our last game in Ghana to qualify, where he was addressing the players and was telling them that if you're scared of what people are going to say on social media and on radio, then you pack your things and leave this place. You need somebody like that who'll be able to speak to the players and let them understand that, you know what, we have over 36 million coaches in Ghana who will talk irrespective of whatever you do. And in today's world, it's even different, and it's so difficult for young players where players sometimes, even after halftime, when they go into the dressing room, go on their phones to check what people are saying about them on social media, right? And these are things that can really bring players down in terms of their mentality and all that. So you need someone who is mentally strong, who can be in the playing body. Yes, you have coaches around that will talk to the players, but what my fellow player will tell me will definitely go down well with me than what probably maybe a coach will tell me, because this is somebody that you can share a lot with. You have a lot of things in common with because you're training with a person. You're sharing tables with a person. You're sharing rooms with this person to talk about personal stuff, to talk about things that you can do on the field. So I really would want to see the technical team look into that direction of not saying, oh, we did not, Andre did not play a part in the qualifiers, or he's not been playing. At least he's playing now. We took players that were not playing to the World Cup. They went there, they got a chance to play. This is someone who is playing. So defining the role and letting him understand that this is exactly what we need you to do, what we are going to have you do at the World Cup is also very important, because you need to have that conversation with him if you're going to bring him. So you just don't go there and then make it look like, okay, we didn't talk to Andre. Mind you, he was, or probably maybe now his brother is a captain, so I cannot say he's still the captain. So if he comes back into the team, he definitely is not the captain of the team. But you can give him a role as the general captain or some sort, let him understand what you need from him and how you want him to be a part of the team. I think that it will be good for us. It will be in our own good if we take Andre to the World Cup. But as Passionate Man said, I'll reiterate that let's define his role for him. Let him understand what exactly we need of him at the tournament. I think we will be good. 28 players is way too many not to include someone like Andre Ayew.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Now, Nanajiman has sent a message. He says Antoine Semenyo is not a striker. He's not just a striker. In football, forward is a broad category of attacking players, while a striker is specific to a type of forward with a more focused role, which is mainly scoring goals. Thanks, Nanajiman. Great to know you're listening to the show. We haven't had Nanajiman here in a while, so Nana, great to know you're tuned into the show. It's 05511119997 05511119997. Would activate the phone line now and have your thoughts, especially for those of you who were not able to send in your WhatsApp messages on your thoughts on realigning the Black Stars team, getting ourselves ready and focusing on some of the key issues that have come up this past week. So it'll be 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541 here on The Joy. All right, let me just see if I have Ibrahim Inkansa, of the the Ghana Supporters Union with us as well. Apirigu, thank you for joining us on the show. Can you hear me? All right, so Apirigu, if you can hear me, you would have to unmute so we can hear you. Now, we'd also want to, get ourselves into the conversation about the fans and, how we can all come together to ensure that we're helping them, to get there. And having them in the stands is also a massive experience and does a lot in terms of psychology and psyching the players. So, Apirigu, thank you very much for your time on the show. Yes, line is breaking a little bit, so we'll try to realign and get back to you. But now we'll listen to the majority leader in Parliament, Honorable Mahama Ayariga. Now, he had his bit to say about our supporters as well. Let's listen to him.
But we all know that the team alone cannot just go and then participate and come back. The team does well based on a certain atmosphere. And so there's a need to create an enabling atmosphere in the country where the team is participating in the tournament for them to be able to deliver. I recall, Mr. Speaker, that when I was sports minister and we went to Equatorial Guinea for the African Cup of Nations, I had to commit a few days before the tournament to travel to some of the major cities in Equatorial Guinea to meet the Ghanaian community and convince them to leave their work and travel from the cities that they were working to Malabo and Mongomo, where we were playing. We also played in I think, another city, 3 cities. And when they are going, you will have to provide buses at the barest minimum. And then you will have to pay the tickets for them. A man is sitting doing his work in some city. You say you should leave and come and support Ghanaians because you are not able to ferry Ghanaians all the way from Ghana to come and support. So you want to count on the small contingent of Ghanaians who are in that country to at least show up at the stadium to support. It will cost you money, whichever way, no matter what sacrifices they choose to make, you will still have to spend some money. It might even be necessary to support our, supporters unions to go there. But the Commission's report says state funds should not be used for such activities. Very commendable position because of the abuses that we saw in the past. So we have to resort to raising funds through other channels to be able to support the Black Stars, create an atmosphere in the various stadiums where they will be playing in order to spur them on.
There we go, and that's the majority leader in Parliament, Honorable Mahama Ayariga, who previously served as Minister for Youth and Sports. Now, we'll try our best to see if we can get a comment or two from Abraham in Council of the Ghana Supporters Union. Abraham, I trust that now you've positioned yourself well. You heard from the majority leader. He says that now we have to come together as a society to see how we can support you and your fellow supporters to go and, do your thing in the stands for the Black Stars. How are things going regarding how you are trying to mobilize, your members and all of that for the big assignment in summer? Yes, Apirku, I hope you can hear me. All right, having a bit of a challenge with the line there. All right, let's get to Benedict and Passionate Man. Now, this conversation about our fans as well is one that's very, very crucial. The majority leader who has found himself in the space. I mean, he comes from a point of experience because he's administered the sports sector before. Now, we need the numbers in the stands. I remember I always refer to covering the 2014 World Cup and seeing, just a tiny bit of fans, from where I was seated in hospitality, where you saw just a tiny bit of Ghanaian fans. And anytime the German players were mentioned, ahead of the start of the game, you saw the massive difference. And, this also has something to do with, or something to do for the players psychologically. Benedict, what's the experience? What can you share with us regarding the presence of fans in the stands and what it can also add to the eventual effort on the pitch?
You can't play football without fans, and we saw that during COVID, where it was so difficult for some of the players. At the point, even in the English Premier League, they had to sort of like be playing, pseudo fans, like voices and stuff in the stadium just to make it look like there are fans in the stadium. So you need fans. Fans are such a major stakeholder. They're actually like the huge stakeholder when it comes to, sports. Every sport in this world need fans. So it's not an exception to football. But for me, I was actually surprised to hear the Honorable Yariga, talk about these things. And my surprise came from the fact that, one, he was also at the sports ministry and was trying to compare what happened in Equatorial Guinea, Malabo, and all of that. That's totally different from places like America, England, and all other places where you already have Ghanaians. I don't have a problem if fans will make their way from Ghana to wherever they want to support the team, but that shouldn't come at a cost to the state. We've seen this over the period where it has brought a lot of issues. We saw it in 2014 that at the Commission of Inquiry, and the Commission of Inquiry even mentioned it, that government must not, in the white paper, going forward, airlift funds from Ghana to any major organized competition. We saw what that did. They've defied that. The NPP did it in 2022, where they took funds to Qatar, and it's something that is going to continue. But we need to look at the resources that we have. We started talking about sports fund and all of that. The amount of money we spend in airlifting funds from Ghana to the World Cup could probably be channeled into something else that will help other federations. So if people want to do it individually, that's very, very fine. If you have a few group like that of Apirigu and their group that is recognized, which I know is recognized, and we are helping them, maybe government subsidizing and corporate Ghana also helping, that is fantastic. That should be the way. But to put everything on government to be, to airlift funds, which will cost us in excess of $1 million, because when you're bringing these funds, now mind you, you're paying for plane ticket, you're going to feed them, you're going to accommodate them, and aside from that, you have to give them something. You cannot just bring them and leave them just to be walking around. And all these things, it costs a lot of money. So if it's just going to be on the government, I will say no. But if there's going to be a collaboration between the government and private entities to help the recognized bodies travel and support. So it won't just be what we've been used to, where we just pack foot soldiers, we pack everyone into an airplane and then take them, put them in hotel. And when they go to the stadium, they don't even support. They just go and watch. And then when they are done, they go. Apilgo and their guys go, they sink. Those people are people we can have a different conversation, regarding them. And also for them, it has to be genuine fans. We've been hearing too many stories of people who are not, fans, and because they just want to travel, they also want to be part of Apirugu's team. They have to vet people and make sure that these are genuine, true fans that are going on the purpose of just going to support the team in the fans, as we always see them in their lovely colors. It's awesome. It's amazing. It adds up to the culture. And when you talk to people who are looking forward to this World Cup, they talk about the culture and the presence we bring as Africans to the World Cup, the color, the drumming, everything. It makes it wonderful and nice when you have these guys. Because if I'm going to the stadium and if I'm not going as a journalist, I'm going as a fan, there's no way I'll pick a drum and go and drum and support the team. I'm just going to watch. But Apilgo and the guys do that. So I still would say, yes, people like that are very recognized, that are in the body, that are vetted, that these are fans that are going, government can subsidize, but it shouldn't solely be on government, because we've seen way many times how these things turn out. It's not something, it's not a venture that brings anything to us. So if it's going to be government and then private entities helping, that should be it. But not government solely flying or airlifting fans from Ghana to any place to support the team.
Amazing stuff. Give the final word to Passionate Man. The fans also are important. I'm very sure that you have already made your plans for summer, getting a break and all of that, and making sure that you're going to be there as usual.
Well, we're still thinking through it. I'm still working on it. Probably, maybe I might fly in. We'll see. But to the fans, I think it's important. We need the fans there. Football without the fans is unimaginable. So we need the Black Stars. We need our fans there. We need the supporters. I don't even mind if they get to the States and they don't return, they don't come back. That's a different conversation. What we do need is, let's be honest. What we do need is we need our fans in the stadium. We're playing in Philly, we're playing in Boston, we're playing in Canada. We need to see our fans in those stadiums, see how well to support the team, to cheer the team on. As to whether them coming back, that's a different conversation. However, I still believe and I still think that, there are a lot of corporate Ghana that should come into the aid of these supporters, and then also get the exposure to come and support these fans, because state funds, as we know, is quite small enough not to even pay for that. And also, you look at the bigger picture. If we just pay for fans, it doesn't really make logical sense to us. So I think that maybe corporate Ghana can come into the aid of these supporters and then help left these funds to the US and Canada, and so they can support the team, because there's a spiritual connection to when you see your fans. When there are fans and there are players, there's that sense of a burden to do something for the nation, because they sense that energy as well. And when you hear your local songs being chanted in the stands, it brings a different feeling, different vibes.
Very true.
It kind of energizes these players. And we need to see that Jama, we need to hear that Jama and the drums and the dondo and everything going on there. That is the African vibe. We are Africans. We have to present ourselves as Africans. We're not Europeans. We could have the British passport and the American passport, all that you can have, but we are Africans. We have an identity, the way we sing, the way we dance, the way we dress, the way we talk, actually, So we need to present this into the World Cup. It's a World Cup festive period that Africans need to showcase the African, culture. And without our fans, it will be very, very difficult to be able to showcase this, because the players are going to be dressed in their jerseys and playing. Afterward, what next? We need to show that side of our game.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kwejo Ajayjima, Coach Kwejo Ajayjima, passionate man, and also Benedict Owusu for contributing to the show. And we'll try and get Abraham Nkansa into the studio one of these days so that we can flesh out the issues from the perspective of the fans. We're very grateful to Farida Idris as well, who joined us from the heart of Spain. We're going to have that conversation again. We had a bit of technical challenge with it. Good afternoon to you, Inko Joseph. Thank you very much for the message. And also, good afternoon to you, Bennett Frimpong. Bennett Frimpong is Benedict's elder brother. Bennett Frimpong decided to leave the broadcasting space to go and do finance and banking and all that. Bennett, great to know you're listening to the show. Well, so that's how we wrap it up here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. It's been a wonderful time. And of course, at 2 p.m. and onwards, the man Kwame Dazi will be taking over your radio to bring you another big conversation. Bra Kwame. So that one in the background is from the legendary Kojo Entry and Freddie Mayway. Says Shona. I'm a guy. If you want me to translate Shona, you have to go and see me off air.
Shona.
Yeah. In Shona is different from Shona. Oh, the bedding. Happy 50th birthday to Daniel Kofi Amwating of Kokobod. I call him Amwating. You know me, I'm a guy, so I say Amwating. Daniel Kofi Amwating, happy birthday. And Kwame, today is the Greater Accra Regional Minister's birthday.
Oh, today.
Honorable Linda Akwile Oklu. Linda Oklu, you remember what she did last weekend with the Kotoko and Hearts thing? And she beat her counterparty Kubasi to it. Charlie, it was nice.
Yeah.
Is
it to any party this evening?
Yeah. Honorable Linda Oklu. Charlie.
You know I love parties.
Yeah, I know. Charlie, maybe we should. But you're closing at 6 p.m., right? Oh, Lord. And of course, Dr. Kalian Bezui. Dr. Kalian Bezui, happy birthday to you. Yeah, today is an amazing day, isn't it? Kwame, what's happening later today on the show?
Later today, we're having a conversation with Nana Banamwa. Media, career, journey, and women activism, among others. And then we're talking about cyberbullying on our celebrities, our creatives, and other individuals. We have a victim who will be sharing her story.
I will be so locked on and hooked on that show. I'm glad about the Cybersecurity Act and how it's coming in to check all of these things, Kwame. And kudos to you and the team ahead of time already for this kind of conversation. Nanaba has paid her dues to the industry, and it's always great to listen to her. And she did an amazing job launching the Women of Valor. And Nanaba hosted my mother's 50th birthday. Yeah, I'll tell you what happened at that party.
Ago?
Charlie, how many years ago? Ishmael Ba. Be Ishmael. Be Ishmael they call him.
No, you don't look Ishmael.
DJ Obeti has a new look today, Charlie. And when we get on YouTube, you're going to see it's the total opposite of that of Kwame.
No, you look like some Joseph or Isaiah or something.
In the Bible, eh? But did they have cameras in those days?
No, I can just picture in my mind's eye.
Oh, you're a prophet, eh?
Yes.
Charlie, guys, have a wonderful time. Kwame Dazi and the rest of the team take over here on Joy 99.7 FM. And of course, as we always do, the man, DJ Wobeti, will strike it off with some amazing tunes as we get ourselves ready for the big conversations here on your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. Thanks to the whole production team, led by Benaya Elom Dapia Mekbo. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love for sport.